Hey guys, September 26th, 2015. You're looking at a Shen Drones Tweaker small mini H quad that I'm building. So I thought I'd do some videos on build videos. There's not a lot out there on the YouTube at the moment, so I figured I'd just videotape mine and put it on there. So basically, as you can see, I've got the frame, I've got the 6 standoffs or risers put on here, and those are with some Allen hex nuts, and I used blue Loctite on those, and I've got some nylon standoffs for the power distribution board and the flight controller. And then right here I've got 3M extreme tape, 2 strips of it, and then that's gonna stick to my receiver, the U4R2 with the FR Sky and Tirana setup. So what I like to do, as you can see here, when I put the, I'm going to use ppm on this. When I put this jumper on there, anytime I connect something like that, I like to use hot glue just to keep it in place so it doesn't fall off or vibrate off or come off in a crash or something. Especially those items that are going to be buried underneath a bunch of other stuff and I can't get to them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do as much of this build on video that I can. Some of the steps I just can't seem to work with this camera sitting in front of me for the delicate, really intricate things. So I'll just do those off video and then show you what it looks like when I'm done. So right now I'm going to put this D4R2 on the tape, and that's pretty straightforward. So let me get these red tape covers off of here, just using an X-Acto knife. Pull both of those off of there, and then I'll stick my receiver on there, and it's going to be buried underneath the power distribution board and the control board, so I want it to stay in place. So let me look over the top of this and make sure I get this thing centered on here. That looks pretty good. Press that down. I have already bound this receiver to my radio transmitter, but I'll still, the cool thing about this design is I'll still have access to the failsafe button or the reset button, so I can bind again or set up the failsafe, which I still need to do as I get everything kind of connected and hooked up. So I have the antennas heading to the back of the frame. And then I'm going to be using this, I don't know how it's pronounced, Atmosphere, I think is how it is, power distribution board. I just read through the whole RC Group's thread on this, and they've had a lot of problems with these, with the voltage sensor or voltage regulators. You got a 5 volt and a 12 volt. And then there's also filter in here for your video and for your video transmitter, and there's a place to plug in an OSD. I will not be installing an OSD, so what I've done is it's hard to see unless it focuses here, I've bridged the gap on the OSD, and then I've got both of these pin setups bridged to put out 12 volts, because my camera and video transmitter will be 12 volts for this particular quad. And I plugged it in and checked it and tested everything, and it's good to go. And then I just have my pigtail with my battery connector connected to these positive and negative pads on the sides, and then the rest of my ESC hookups will go on the sides here. So basically how that's going to go is this will sit on my pins like this, and there's a lot of different options. See people doing a lot of different things, but I put my pins for my video out the bottom of the board. Why did I do that? I just did it because I thought it'd be the way to go. I just want to as declutter and as organized as possible, and that's the way I'm going to run it. So this one will come back to my video transmitter, and then the other one will take a reverse underneath the board up to the camera. So that's how that's going to set. And then I've got my, actually, let me look at this board and show you something here real quick. This board happens to be the version 2.2. Man, I cannot get that to focus. Actually 2.1, sorry. So, right here, version 2.1. And we'll see how it works. Hopefully they've worked out all the bugs. I'm not really, I'm going to be using the 5 volts to power the controller, and then 12 volts to the camera. So I'm using the Naze 32 Acro, and this particular board I've had it laying around here for quite a while. This one is version 5. Somewhere around here it says that. I can't read it through my video screen. Yeah, okay. I can get it to focus. 5 right there. I know it's not in focus, but it is a version 5. So the way I'm going to put this on here is 90 degrees to the right, or to the left. The arrow's pointing that direction, and I'm going to turn it, instead of this way, 90 degrees to the left. This way I have my USB on the side. A lot of people do them this way. Then I've got PPM set up for the receiver, and that's going to also have to come through and run underneath. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll put it like this. Yeah, let me look at that a little closer and see. That might be how I do it. USB on the left side. And then the way I've got this soldered up is I use the standard pin setup. Let me turn on the light and see if this will help it focus. Standard pin setup for the VBAT, telemetry, and buzzer. And then I just have 4 single pins with the 90-degree bend for the 4 signals of the ESCs. And then here's the 5 volts in to power the board, and that's going to come off of the power distribution board. 5 volts. So up here on the front is 5 volts. They'll just make a lead, pigtail comes up, plugs in right here. And then over here, yeah, the PPM. So that's basically it. I just kept it short, sweet, and simple. And I got a pretty good solder job on those. You'll just have to take my word for it, since I know you can't really see it. It's not clear. For some reason I can't get my camera to focus. But anyway, that's the deal, and that's where I'm at the moment. I will connect some of this together, and then the next thing I'm going to do is start working on the ESCs, cutting the leads to the proper length so I can get those in there and soldered up. Alright, talk to you later on video number 2 for the Shen drones tweaker build.